If you're learning to code today, you are not late to the party. In fact, you're walking into a $3 trillion economy right as it's being totally reinvented. And honestly, your timing is perfect. Let's get into exactly why.
This right here, this is the main idea for this whole explainer. You're not just picking up a new skill, you are stepping into an economy that's literally the size of France, right at the moment it's being ripped up and rebuilt from the ground up.
$3 trillion. I mean, just look at all those zeros. It's a number so big it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around, right? And this isn't some crazy future prediction. Nope. This is the estimated value of the work developers are doing right now, all over the world. So where in the world does a number like that even come from?
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with that huge number. Then we'll tackle the elephant in the room. Yeah, I'm talking about AI. After that, we'll unpack this really cool idea called the acceleration paradox, see why it actually means more builders, not fewer, and look at why this is the fastest tech shift in history. And finally, the most important part, we'll figure out your place in all of this.
All right, first up, how do we get to $3 trillion? Well, the math is actually way more straightforward than you might think.
Okay, so you start with about 30 million developers across the globe. To put that in perspective, that's like the entire population of Canada, and every single one of them is coding for a living. Now, here's the crucial part. We multiply that by an average of $100,000 in economic value per developer. And that's not salary, okay? That's the real-world impact. It's the revenue from a new feature they shipped, the millions saved by automating some tedious process, or the billions protected through secure bank transactions. You do that math, and bam! You land right around a $3 trillion economy.
And to really see the scale here, the developer economy is about the same size as the entire economy of France or India. It's double the GDP of Canada. I mean, think about that. If developers were a country, we'd be one of the richest on the entire planet. This is the world you're about to step into.
Okay, so we've set the stage. The scale is massive. But now we absolutely have to talk about the elephant in the room. The number one fear that's on every single new developer's mind right now. This is the big one, isn't it? If AI can write code, then what's the point of me learning? It's a totally fair question, a completely valid fear. But I promise you, the answer is not what you think it is.
And to really understand why, we've got to look at this fascinating economic idea. It's a little counterintuitive, I'll admit, and it's called the acceleration paradox.
So, traditional thinking is pretty simple. More automation means fewer jobs. And on the surface, that makes a lot of sense. But what's actually happening in software right now is the complete opposite. Automation isn't killing opportunities, it's creating an absolute explosion of them.
So here's the core idea of the paradox. When a new tool makes a skill way easier, it doesn't make the skill obsolete. Instead, it lowers the barrier to entry so much that way more people can jump in, and the whole market just expands dramatically. And look, this isn't some newfangled theory. We have seen this play out time and time again throughout history.
Just think about spreadsheets. When VisiCalc and Excel first showed up, did we fire all the accountants? Of course not. It gave them superpowers. Suddenly, complex financial modeling wasn't just for a few specialists. Every business manager, every small business owner could do it. The entire field of financial analysis just blew up. And we saw the exact same pattern with the printing industry. For centuries, it was this highly specialized craft, right? Then desktop publishing came along and automated a ton of those skills. Did the industry shrink? Nope. It transformed. Print shops became creative agencies. Graphic design exploded as a profession. Way more beautiful stuff got designed and printed than ever before. This is exactly what's happening to code right now, but it's happening on a much, much bigger scale and way faster.
So how is this paradox actually playing out in the software world today? Well, it's happening through this massive shift away from generic one-size-fits-all software to hyper-custom, bespoke solutions.
For the last 20 years or so, we've been living in the era of mass-market SaaS. Companies would build one generic product for millions of users because building custom software was just way too expensive. Well, AI completely flips that script. Now, a small law firm can build a custom tool to analyze their specific contracts. A scientist can build an app to manage their unique lab data. And they can do it in a matter of days, not years. The cost has dropped so much that building something for a market of one is actually viable. So, who gets to be a developer now? The answer is pretty much everyone. A doctor can build a tool for their own research, a designer can create a mind-blowing interactive art piece, an entrepreneur can build a fully functional prototype without hiring a single engineer. All those old gatekeepers,
like memorizing complex syntax or mastering arcane command line tools, they're being torn down by AI. So please, remember this. AI isn't shrinking the developer market. It is expanding who gets to be a developer. The pie isn't getting smaller, it's getting infinitely bigger, and honestly, everyone's being invited to the table.
Okay, so not only is this change absolutely massive, it is also happening faster than any other technological shift we have ever seen. Period.
Just look at the history of these big platform shifts. Personal computers took about 12 years to go mainstream. The internet? About 10 years. The cloud was a bit slower, around 15. Then mobile came along and sped things up, about 8 years. But AI coding tools, they are on track to hit mainstream adoption in under 3 years. Each wave gets faster and faster. You're not just joining a revolution, you're joining the fastest one in history.
And look, this isn't me just guessing about the future. The data is already here. According to the latest Stack Overflow survey, a staggering 84% of professional developers are already using or planning to use AI tools. More than half use them daily. The early adopter phase, that's over. By the time you get your first job, this will just be the standard way things are done.
So, we've talked about the enormous scale, this crazy paradox, and the unbelievable speed. All of this leads to the single most important question. What does this all mean for you, learning to code right here, right now?
It means the rules of the game have totally changed. The old way, the 2020 way, was all about memorizing syntax, grinding out algorithm problems. Basically, it was preparing you to compete with automation. That is a losing battle. The 2025 way is about developing the skills that automation can't replicate. Your good judgment, your creativity, your ability to design elegant systems that solve real problems. It's about partnering with AI, not trying to outcode it.
So let's bring this all home. That story you might have heard about a shrinking market, about jobs disappearing, it's just wrong. You are not entering a shrinking market. You are walking into a rapidly expanding one, at the most exciting moment in its entire history. Not despite the economics of AI, but because of them.
The barriers that kept so many people out of this field for so long are just collapsing. The tools to build absolutely incredible things are literally at your fingertips. So the question isn't whether there's a place for you anymore. The real question is, what are you going to build? And hey, to really let this sink in, try this out. Go ask your favorite AI the prompt you see here. Ask it why spreadsheets made the market for accountants bigger, not smaller. I think you'll see the future of your own career crystal clear.